So my favorite video I made on this channel was this one right there. Now in this video I remade my house entirely in 3D to turn it into a full-size virtual reality game that could fit my house. For some reason, you guys seem to like this video as it got a lot of views, and so did the number of feedbacks I received. And among hundreds of comments, I was saying house wrong?
House.
One comment stand out.
Next video, I turned my house into a horror game.
What a great idea! Turning my house into a horror game. The place where I live and where I sleep. I'm sure nothing traumatizing could happen, so no, I won't do it. Oh, it's the title of the video, so it means I already made it. Oh, Okay, so before getting started with the game, we have a big problem that we need to fix. As you can see from my background, since the last video I moved out to a new place, which means that everything that I did previously can be thrown in the trash. We need to start from scratch and recreate a 3D environment of my house. But let's not get demotivated. We could try to redo exactly the step from last video, but I think I got a better idea. From the last video, a lot of people wanted to try the game, which was impossible because, well, it was only made from my own house, which made me think, would it be possible to automatically recreate the room of anyone playing the game? This seemed impossible at first, but then the solution appeared to me. The Guardian. So now, if you are not familiar with the Guardian is a safety feature from the VR headset. When you set up the device for the first time, you can actually draw the limit of your play area and use it to stop yourself from eating something and get hurt. But what if we use this Guardian not for safety, but to recreate the room around the player? And I want to see if this idea can work, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, as you can see, I've already made this small VR setup in Unity with hand animation. Now, to get the Guardian, I use these lines of code, which will return all of the data of the Guardian in a list of position. And for each position, I then spawn a little sphere. So if I did everything correctly, it should appear right now. Now that we managed to get the Guardian data, the next step is to create walls using these points. But as you can see, we have too many of them, which is bad, because if we connect them like this, the walls will look super curvy, which is not realistic. So how can we reduce the number of points that we have to get straight walls? That's where the Rammer, Puckler, Douglas algorithm saves the day. So this algorithm simplifies a list of positions while keeping the curve, and here is how it works. So take this beautiful sequence of points that form a curve. First, we draw a line between the first and the last point. Then, we compare the distance from all the other points to this line. If the distance is less than a certain threshold, we delete the point. If not, we keep it alive. For now. With the new curve that we get after deleting the point, we use the same technique, but this time on the two curves separated by the furthest point from the green line. Now, this doesn't seem like much, but the result is so satisfying to watch. For example, let's draw a fish out of 1,000 points. Just by simply tweaking the threshold value, we can reduce the number of points a lot, but still keep the original shape. That's awesome. Okay, now that we have optimized our list of points from the Guardian, let's make a wall out of it. As you might know, every 3D object is composed of a mesh. In short, a whole lot of triangles that form its shape. So for walls, here is how we're going to make it. I'm going to duplicate the set of points and move it upward. Then I'm going to take 4 points and make a quad out of 2 triangles. And then we repeat all of this for the other points. And ta-da! This is the result. We managed to create the walls around our player. And already walking around the room is so satisfying. Now it's time to focus on the floor and the ceiling. So in the same way that we did for the wall, we need to triangulate these points to create a mesh. So in the case of a convex mesh, it's easy with the fan triangulation. You take one side, you connect it to the others, and you have your triangulation. But where it gets trickier is when the shape is not convex. For this, we'll use the ear clipping method. If you take any polygon, it will contain at least 2 ears. But what is an ear, you ask? An ear is a triangle inside a polygon that has 2 sides outside and 1 side inside. That was weird to say. So if we find an ear, if we remove it, we still get a proper polygon that we can use to keep finding a new ear. So what we simply need to do is keep going until we got ourselves the triangulation. And there you go. Now if we apply this technique for the floor and the ceiling, this is the result. At the end, I've also added this baseboard as well to add more detail to the room. And I wanted to also let the player tweak the height of the room as well, so I made this little slider that he can control with a ray. And now it's the fun part. Now that we have a mesh, we can actually use any material that we want. So I made some preset that the player can choose if he wants to change the look of the room. Okay, so we make the full shape of the room, which is amazing, but one thing is missing, the furniture. And as for the room, I want the player to be able to configure it himself. So for this, we are going to use the 3D furniture pack made by Kenny. One, we import it in Unity, then we create a menu with all the furnitures, then we make the furniture spawn when we click on it, and at last, let the player rotate, scale and move the furnitures wherever he wants in the room. I also took the time to add a color palette to tweak the look of the object, and if you want to know how I made this room configurator, I made a complete advanced tutorial on my Patreon with every step of the development using the Mix Reality toolkit. So if you'd like to have access to the source code of all of my tutorials here on YouTube, plus exclusive content like this advanced tutorial I just talked about, go on and join us, the link is in the description below. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect at all this to be so time consuming. At first, working on this kind of stuff is definitely hiding a lot of work. For example, one particular object was harder to make, which was the windows. At first I was like, if we want to make a windows, we need to just cut a hole in the mesh, right? But this would be impossible to control and would create all sorts of optimization issues. So the solution was instead to use a stencil shader. Basically, the stencil shader allows us to read what's behind an object. So in the case of a windows, for example, if I take this quad and that I use the stencil shader to say to hide the wall behind it, we get ourselves our beautiful windows that the player can move around the room. Perfect! And after some time, this is the result. I know what you think. This seems like a lot of work to just get the same result as last time, right? But now with this automatic recreation, the possibilities are endless. You can go on and try to recreate the same room you are right now, or you can go completely crazy with the configurator. And most importantly, now everybody has the tools to try and recreate their own room without any knowledge of 3D or programmation. Now, we've already worked a lot, but the job is not finished, because now we need to use the 3D environment to actually create the horror game. And that's what we will do in the second part of this video.
In the next episode, the quest of a man trying to recreate the scary thing. And with the help of his little friend, will survive or fail miserably. To find out, gently push on that like button and subscribe to the channel. And see you in the next part of this video, coming very soon.
Hey, congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for sticking with me, my friend. It means a lot. If you'd like more awesome content like this one, check out that video on the left. A big shout out to all of my new Patreon which appear on the screen right now. And if like them you want to support the channel and have access to exclusive content, join us. The link is in the description below. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.